the fires of a culture that praises the unrighteous and celebrates mediocrity. It's time for a new age, when power to tell stories of the future will be in the hands of the people. Rise up! Become the culture! Hail the Iron Age!
Jesus fucking Christ, Christian.
Fuck this book.
Stupid.
We can't hear you, Kahuna.
Anyways, welcome to the fucking channel. We're talking about Fourth Wing, the worst book ever.
Fuck this book.
This book is shit.
Fuck
okay?
this book.
Look,
Fuck
he's still
this
trying
book.
to talk.
Fuck
He's still
this
trying to
book.
introduce this. He's fucking it up. He's been fucking it up all day.
This is what he deserves for putting us through this.
All right. Well, fuck it. We're not even going to do non-spoiler discussion. We're jumping right into it, guys.
Don't read this book. Do not read this book. This is a Surgeon's General warning.
Look, he's still trying to talk when we can't hear him.
I'll say this. This book is a real heart fister, you know?
Oh, God. Why does this author love using the term fisting so much? Well, no,
I
actually,
don't know why.
This author likes to tell you about how she gasped, okay? It's very important, you know.
You know,
So
before we continue, we must suggest you a good book. You know, right now, Herman P. Hunter is over on Go Crazy for Iron Age Knights, and he got a wonderful book series. Well, he's starting a book series there. Revenant in the Tomb is available now. You can buy it on Amazon. And we're going to start getting the next book here very shortly. So he's showing that right now. Please go support Herman P. Hunter, because you'll have far superior world building and far more interesting characters in that, which, by the way, I want to point out, Revenant Tomb alone, what is it? 150, 160 pages? How long was it? It wasn't long.
It was a quick read.
I did it in a day. That is like,
and what's amazing is how he made the world feel so deep and filled with such a short amount of time.
I would like to point out that he did that in what? 1/7 of the page length that Fourth Wing is.
And do we have a date on the Revenant and the Cult when that's coming out?
Very, very soon. Like what, in a week or two or less?
It's good to hear you, Kahuna.
Fucking me with a seesaw, dude. Holy fuck. Trying to get this thing set up has been a little bit of a task. Holy sweet.
Well, you don't have your usual rig at hand, so that could really mess up your flow.
I'm also in the middle of a jungle. I'm on a property that my grandma has lived on since 1972 or earlier. and it still doesn't have an address. There's no garbage. There is no power. There is no water. There is no sewer. There's no mail. Billy Bob may be gay. There's a lot going on here. Anyway, so we're moving along.
No problems with that. Minus the sewage, no sewage. I don't see any problems with that.
Oh well, yeah, that's because you're a historian. You like to get into the history, deep in the shit. You know what I'm saying? So let me summarize what I missed. It fucking sucked. What a terrible fucking book.
Yeah, and you're going to be reading the second one all by yourself.
You know, I just might for the meme, but maybe I should do it next time I come here, so at least I can look at this.
I don't think you're going to want to. It's about twice as long.
So in the last day, I've narrowly.
It's twice as long.
The second one.
600 pages.
The second one is even longer.
No.
It is even longer. I'm not sure about how much.
Okay,
I'm not
no,
reading that.
things did happen. There's no build up to anything in this fucking book.
Homie, don't play that.
Oh, except for the very obvious betrayal at the end.
Oh,
the rebel children who are forced to join a suicidal death squad.
I just hear Mooney
murdered.
shouting betrayal into the camera.
By the way, she really hated Dylan, not the third wheel of this love triangle. She really fucking hated him.
Oh, dude, Battsauce just talked about something in the comments too. My wife has read the second book. Go figure. Lightning is the only way to defeat the Venom, the main
Wasn't
threat.
that established in the first one?
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's and a special type of dagger.
Yeah, the special alloy dagger that's disruptive to magics that aren't dragon-based.
Well, I guess to answer your question, Wrangler, on who would beat a Venom, I think Stormbright's chances are pretty good.
Oh, yeah, and he can actually aim.
Wait, Christian. Since Battsauce didn't join us like he's supposed to, that means you got to read 4 segments.
Oh, yeah, no, I'm not reading shit, by the way.
Yes, you are, you little fuck.
I don't have it.
Oh my God. You were supposed to fucking clip out.
This trip came very last minute, man. I wasn't gonna say no. I wasn't able to get everything ready that I wanted to.
Stop lemon, Kay.
Thank you, Otter. Yeah, that's what Billy Bob needs.
There's a lot of instances in this book where, in My Immortal, there's several places where you hear her go, "What the fuck?" or "I gasped." It's "What the hell?" She'll say that a lot in this.
And she loves putting the periods at the end of every word.
Yes, and every character does this. It's not just Violet. It's every single character does this.
There were only 2 character voice types: the professors and everybody else. And I'm sorry, all the professors sounded like each other.
The professor sounded like her, just less cursing. That was it.
Less cursing and less biting your words.
Why does the military feel like high school or middle school?
Because it is supposed to be high school. Yeah. Everyone's 20-something years old, but they all talk like they're 15, 16.
Yeah, there was a bunch of things. I'll take my lickings now. There was a bunch of things that bugged the living shit out of me. But there were also some things I thought were really cool ideas in here that I was digging those aspects of it.
They
there
all
are
speak
some good
like
ideas
15,
in the book.
16-year-old white girl. That's how they speak.
I was just kind of ignoring the drama aspects. I'm like, yeah, she's gonna put in unnecessary arguments left, right, and center with as many swear words as possible. Oh well. But I was just started going, okay, why is this place run like a freaking death cult?
Oh, when they're in such need of soldiers that they are conscripting citizens and they're worried about a rebellion, that's a good time to be wasting soldiers in a training.
They're basically throwing kids at a wall and seeing who sticks and doesn't die.
The rebellion started because they were lying to everyone about an enemy that they're not even fighting. Another nation is fighting.
But they're also fighting the nation that's fighting the real enemy.
But they're not really fighting that nation.
Well, the nation's making raids on them because they're the only ones with the alloy that can kill the Venom.
Right, but they're doing raids. They're not actually a full-scale war.
Correct. But That's a
And
propaganda
know
machine
why
they got
there's
going on.
They
They're
know
telling
why
everybody they're at
raiding
war.
on them and then say, "Well, fuck you guys."
Battsauce brings up a good question.
Yeah.
Why do they have an infantry?
Speaking of which, you would
I
think
don't
that
know.
more people would
they-
know
we
about
don't
it.
even see the infantry until the second book.
Okay. Let's do something different here. Wrangler, you're the only one who has any significant positives to bring to the table in regards to this book, in regards to feeling.
Which is
There are
strange.
some
I'm the one
positives to
who
this book.
kicking and streaming the most about having to read it, and I'm the only one who actually found things I enjoyed.
I know that. So let's let them get it all out, and then we could rip into shreds and compare it to Jay Roy's mistress. All right, continue.
All right, can we kill that bird?
In the background
Why?
of my stream?
Yeah, the bird.
Don't kill the Mockingjay.
There,
Yeah, we're killing the Mockingjay, bitch.
there
Or
are
I can step
thousands of
outside and you can
birds.
hear the crickums.
Oh, how I'm regretting how much we shit on Suzanne Collins now. Compared to this, she did not deserve it.
Shit.
Okay, so
anyways,
we'll do
continue.
this. We'll do this. Wrangler, all the things you really liked.
Uh-oh.
All the things you really liked about Fourth Wing, go.
Okay. The magic system was very interesting. It gave me a something new to try and figure out how the physics of it work. The conspiracy theory, I liked what she was building up to. She just built up to it all wrong, making pretty much everything the logic of it be all real janky. Because I did go through the second book, so I got the answers I was looking for, and yeah, it was weak. But what she was trying to do, I liked. Unfortunately, the delivery and the logical progression of it all was just. I don't have anything nice to say about it.
I have a couple of nice things I want to add in as well that this book does that I thought it was going to go the opposite way. The book never man bashes at all, which I do appreciate.
No, it doesn't. The wokeisms are in there, but it's so subtle. It's just part of the background. You're not being beat over the head with it at all.
The main one that I've noticed is that the amount of women in the military, despite them not really having.
Yeah.
Also, that the main character looks like Gollum, evidently.
Another positive.
The self-described weak woman with bad joints, bad ligaments.
I was mistaken. I thought they were calling her weak just because she was smaller. I didn't realize she.
Oh no!
I actually looked up. She actually has a problem, and I looked up what it was. It actually is one, but they'll never say it because it wouldn't fit in the in that world to actually have that term.
Another positive.
There are plenty of terms that didn't fit in the world, but
here's the thing: you could have had her been small and her just be really agile. Like you didn't have to add that she's fucking brittle or whatever. It's so
I think she was just. It was just straight up to try and endear us to her more.
It didn't really serve much of a
but her
purpose.
sister tells you that she has a strong right hand. How?
Also, I'll say this: like, does the woman who wrote this book, does she not realize that speed is really amplified by musculature and how powerful someone is?
No, she doesn't know. She also.
I kept asking myself that question. I will give this though. Violet does grow throughout this book. She is forced to improve.
Don't you mean violence?
All right, let's go through it. She's proficient.
I fucking hate that.
She's proficient with poison, which okay. She's really fast and agile, but evidently weak as fuck. She's also really special because she's the general's daughter. She's also doubly special because she has not one dragon, but two dragons bond with her. And the baby dragon gives her a special stop time.
Yeah, she gets to stop time.
The ultimate fucking MacGuffin, dude.
She has like JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Dio powers.
Not that you really care, but that ability is gone.
Man, this it's really useless.
Continues to display. Scene. I remember what he's talking about.
This book goes out of its way to fucking make her the most almighty special girl you've ever seen. Katniss wasn't like this, guys.
No,
understand?
No, she wasn't. Katniss was actually a good character in some ways. Like, I don't like her as a person, but the character was strong.
I'm also going to say something about narrative stakes here. the fact that her life is bound to not only her dragons, but also Xaden and his dragons pretty much gives them all plot armor. Not one of them can die, because if that happens, then the other person dies as well.
It will cause a cascading effect that will ultimately seppuku all of them.
Well, let's be honest.
At the very least, both of them
the
that are
reason
human.
why she had it like that was so she could have this fucking force. He was my enemy and hated me, and now we're lovers, and we were meant to be with each other.
Also, was there a single solitary person who would fall for the? Was there a single person who didn't see the twist of him and the rebels, like going against the government, or the government being being assholes? Was there a single person who would have fallen for any of
We all saw that as soon as she was mentioning the wyvern and the venom in the storybooks. We we're running into them by the end.
I saw it earlier than that.
Are you talking about when the professor asked them about questions about the battlefront and then says, "Oh, I can't talk about it, classified." Like, bitch, how are we supposed to learn?
What's the point of this fucking class then?
To quote Redoubt, otherwise known as the Kurgan, I have something to say.
No, you have to say it to Gravel. I have something to say. It's better to burn out than to fade away.
What is this story really? I can only assume this is a romance story first and foremost, because everything else kind of falls apart under scrutiny.
No, it's a fuck the system Hogwarts romance.
Well, like even Harry Potter is a mystery story at its core.
Power fantasy.
This is not.
Well, yeah, but J.K. Rowling could actually write good mystery. This woman cannot.
Well, every one of J.K. Rowling's books is a mystery book. The mystery is the best part.
Right. The magic school element of Harry Potter, it all serves the mystery that it's kind of wrapped around. That's what binds everything together. What's binding it together here?
The whole it's all about don't trust the narrative.
Well, I can tell you.
Death and horny teenagers. That's it.
Yeah, they're not even teenagers. They're 20-year-olds. They're adults.
I know. That's the problem.
But they don't talk like it.
Well,
also, you figure in this militaristic setting in fantasy, the young people younger would act like they're older instead of modern day people who are in their 20s acting like they're teenagers.
Oh, I'm gonna also bring this up. This fucking main character is a pervert, disgustingly rapey pervert.
Every time she talks about Xaden, she is always fawning over the dude. Always.
Not even Xaden. By the way, no means no bitch. When he was trying to say, hey, get away from me, she's like, well, actually, I think you will like it. But
I got so sick of that CSI style zoom in on her limerence every time she saw him. That was just
also take a shot every time she says climb him like a tree.
I don't want alcohol poisoning.
You said take a shot? Hey, hi, Captain Morgan.
Oh, no. I take a shot every time a character says, I don't fucking care what people think about me.
All right, now, Billy, I don't want to die tonight, okay?
I will not die today.
The dialogue in this book feels like a modern Disney MCU film, but with liberal pepperings of fuck thrown in. Just for emphasis, but it doesn't really serve much.
So a Disney writer who also wrote for the show The Witcher?
Yes.
with a rapey main character that no one will actually call out for being a rapey main character.
And guys, remember, what do we call her? Violence, because she's violent, and it's a cute nickname.
That got old real quick too.
Christian, I called it. Did I not say on the stream that when we heard the character's name, Violent, that I knew it was in some way someone was going to call her Violence because Violet sounds.
Yeah, you mentioned that. I'm like 100%. And then what was it? The next page, when you and I were reading random snippets, it was he called her Violence in bed and in training.
It's his cutesy nickname for her. It's so stupid.
Peter Venkman would not have shocked you for that call.
Can someone describe to me how big these daggers are supposed to be? Because she's wearing 8 of them, and are they supposed to be
different time? It's different sizes at different times. Some of them are real, small sword, hobbit-sized swords, and others are tiny little concealed, 4-inch blades. It's really
more like a dirk.
Yeah, but the 4-inch blades ones make sense because she has like fucking 9 of them on her or some shit. Like this
Look,
book.
the daggers fluctuate in size like Naomi's. Anyways.
Like
who?
Zayden's member. That's how often the size fluctuates.
Oh my
I
God,
also
in the
hate
sex scene.
I hate the vocabulary and the prose in this for a
it's
multitude of
bad.
reasons. Vocabulary
There's no prose.
alone, like I'm not the biggest fan of YA writing because a lot of it can have overly simplified prose, and I would even give Suzanne Collins shit for it. Thing is, Suzanne Collins, you could tell she actually read a pretty decent body of literature. She would
Oh my God,
vary
this
it up.
is giving me a complete reappreciation of Catching Fire. I don't know about Mockingjay, but Catching Fire.
This I found like 3 words that actually gave me pause and go, huh, that's a unique word. The rest, it's just fuck, clit, what else?
Ass.
In that order.
Shit.
We're talking about the profanity.
Doodle-doo.
Oh
I
yes,
ha-
cock a lot.
I
Must
have to
mention,
speak.
flexing jaw. There's another one.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
What was that about?
Now, Billy Bob, I
I
understand.
think she should have been saying clenched their jaw.
Well, clench
Or
and flex
firm their jaw,
synonymous.
trying
Well,
like
Frederick was saying evidently you can flex your jaw, and he was going on about Tom
Yeah, you
Cruise
can.
flexing.
You can. Yeah, Billy Bob, that was a weird question you asked her. I was like, what do you mean flex your jaw? You can't do that. I'm like, yeah, you can. You have jaw
Also,
I've
muscles.
never
You
seen
can
anyone ever write anything or watch anything or heard.
I've never heard that turn of phrase though.
There is no sense of character voice in this book.
Yeah. How many times did you have to stop and go over it again trying to figure out who was saying a sentence?
I had a lot of trouble listening to the audiobook. That's why I got the physical version, because I could not tell whenever Violet was physically speaking or narrating. And it gets worse whenever you factor in italics, because italics are used really inconsistently in this book.
Oh, yeah.
Now,
like Billy Bob, at one point, Billy Bob asks, "Is like, hey, is there more than one perspective in this damn book?" Nope.
Yeah, because
just in the final chapter, that's it.
No. I'll tell you why I said that. So I got to the chapter where she was overhearing Zayden and the other rebels and hiding, like talking to each other.
Mm-hmm.
And at one point, I was hearing another character referring to Violent, and it was also saying "I" somewhere in the sentence, and I was like, "Do we swap perspectives somewhere that I'm missing?" Like, because they kept talking about her, and I didn't realize.
Yeah, that was tough to follow. There was like a group of people at the bottom of the tree, and she came up in their conversation while she was hiding in the tree, listening to them. And yeah, that was really difficult because of jumping back and forth between her thoughts, what they're saying down bottom, and as both you and Otter have said, it's all in the same character voice. So you can't tell who's who.
And
you know what's really weird?
When you're swapping perspectives to Zayden in the final chapter, you expect there to be swapping up of how he says things, like how he thinks a bit. Nope.
It sounds more like what Violet would figure he's thinking.
Yes, exactly. And it's like, oh God.
But that's the whole thing. That's I'm trying not to say this as a knock against it, but I kind of can't help it. The first person perspective. You can't get away. You want this to be a very likable character. It's the main character, but you can't get away from her when it's first person because it's all her narration. The whole narration is in her character voice, which is kind of irrelevant here. But it's all Violet all the time. You can't get away from her, and we never get a chance to actually miss her in other scenes. And
here's
so
the deal.
that's just
I have pity for
Violet.
Down. I have pity for Violet, but I don't really care for her as a main character.
There were a few characters I had sympathy for, but I did not.
Well, yeah, there were,
them.
but not Violet. But Violet is. There's always pity.
Let me guess, Liam.
I felt bad for Liam. I also kind of felt bad for Rhiannon. She kind of gets ignored the vast majority of the story.
Yeah, they set her up like, she'll be Violet's like biggest ally in the academy, and then like a third way through. Fuck Rhiannon.
Well,
that
for the
does come
climax,
to fruition in the next one.
Like, aside from Zayden and Liam,
literate.
a bunch of randos.
So, are we assuming there's some sort of magical dragon BS, like birth control system? Or are they using, like...
No, I just decided not to consider such things. It's easier that way.
You have to. Every character is boning every like every other neighbor.
Oh no,
that
no,
they're
there
dorming
is.
There's
yes.
it's a birth suppressant. That's like something that gets brought up whenever she and Zayden end up fucking.
Oh,
her.
that's probably why I missed it, because I skipped over those scenes.
Yeah, it briefly mentions it. It's like, oh yeah, I take birth suppressant. And Zayden's like, yeah, so do I. And it
Can I
briefly
ask?
describes, yeah,
just
we
trying
don't
to-
want a bunch of like little cadets running around the place.
Oh God! I just have to ask, how many different sex scenes were there again?
Where was it? 3?
They have sex 3 times, but it's really smutty twice. 2 scenes that are really smutty.
It
They're
could
basically
be much
porn.
worse in this genre. I'll say that.
Well, also consider who her target audience is. A lot of them are there specifically for that.
It is very graphic too. Like it is not shy from the details. And there's no artistry to the prose, which hot take, if you're gonna write smut, I really think there should be an element of artistry there, because in the body of literature, if you're going to be covering that in detail and have a reader go through it, you remove that aspect, it just becomes talking dirty. That's all it is. And that's what this was.
Oh,
If you're going to write smut, let Sybil consult.
Sybil is
Christian,
far better at writing smut.
There may be a second Billy in the chat. He's outside right now.
Oh, well, that's okay. Well, we don't need more than one of him in the chat, surely.
I feel that, but I don't
There's
know how.
some major health consequences to smoking, including not being heard on stream.
That wasn't on the surgeon's warning label on that cigarette pack.
Well, we better start putting it there, sir. Also, another point Otter and I talked about privately as well was the book, despite all its problems, it's not boring. It never.
No, her pacing is incredible, actually.
There are boring bits, but yeah, overall, it's not boring. I am going to dock the book for it doesn't really feel like there's an end goal until the last couple of chapters, and I went, wait, that's what this has been building up to this whole time?
The end couple of chapters feel like they kind of just got slapped on there when she realized she actually has to have something happen.
The vast majority of the book is school drama. It's either she's having relationship problems with Dane, like Dane is a very one-note character, or she's slowly getting closer to Zayden, or she's trying to survive in what the school throws at her.
I don't know. I was just happy when they finally got to the battle and we could see what we came for. Pretty much it's X-Men riding on dragons.
The Venom were actually pretty cool. I like the
Venom. So you see why I'm putting that video together now, right?
They were the best part of the world building, and
they're interesting. They're interesting villains.
Yeah. I wish we could have learned a bit more about them, because I'm like, hey, this is actually kind of interesting. A bunch of people who couldn't draw magic from dragons or griffins, so they said, fuck it, we're just going to draw it from the earth itself, and then they end up going insane. Apparently, they also lose their souls. They're basically just animals.
No, they're intelligent.
Oh, yeah, they do speak. That is right.
No, they do keep their sentience, and there's more like they become corrupted. We don't know if they actually lose their soul. They do describe it like that, but you get more interaction with them in the second book, and someone who had the ability to manipulate another's emotions actually used that against one of the Venom, and this Venom chick was like, yeah, I'm going to be rewarded when I drag you back to the stage, and really one of Violet's partners was just amping up what she wanted to just get her monologuing and all. Haha, I'm going to be the best. And she's like,
Wrangler, I have to interrupt. Foxy's getting angry, Christian. You may want to invite her. Very angry out on the porch. There we are.
Hi.
The impression I got with the Venom is they felt like necromancers in a lot of ways.
Yeah. But primarily they just drained the magic from everything, and their land is called the Barrens because they drained all the magic out of it, so nothing grows there anymore.
it does seem like they couldn't really be defeated with their given ability. That's another problem.
Yeah. One of the ways that they can insulate though is like there's buildings that were made out of rock that they mined from the barrens, so it's already been drained to magic. So that kind of gives them a safe zone and insulation against that draining ability.
No, but that would make too much sense. That would take someone who actually had a brain and a half.
No, that's what you put in there. So that's in the second book, not the first.
I think BillyBobSac is showcasing a much better product.
Yeah.
Much better.
So yeah, long story short, is it good? No, but I got a whole bunch of new contestants for that Smash Bros. Game I play on that console called the Wrangler Imagination System.
It is bad, but it's the entertaining kind of bad. You can at least get a good laugh while you're suffering.
Yeah, no, and also to be fair, in terms of this genre with this target demographic, this is nowhere near the bottom of the barrel.
Oh, I'm imagining it gets so much worse.
Yeah, we're gonna have a break, but I'm gonna try to bring you guys back to read something really truly terrible from this genre.
Listen, increase the screen so they can see this art, bitch.
Yes, Billy Bob is also showing a wonderful panel from the Badlands, boy.
Look, even from afar, it's far superior to what I've endured this past week.
So one of the main reasons why I was up for reading Fourth Wing was to see what the traditional publishing competition was compared to independent.
Doesn't that make you feel better about yourself?
It does. Even a lot of the rougher indie projects I've come across, the vast majority of them are still much better than Fourth Wing.
But I kind of hate saying all this because I don't want to dunk on Rebecca Yarros.
I don't.
She had a vision. It's got a whole lot of logic flaws, but she had a vision and she made it happen.
And I
do like a lot of her concepts, and I sometimes I'm actually kind of looking at it as like, this is a missed opportunity. She had cool set up here and flubbed it.
It also seemed like she had 100%. Honest intentions. Like her acknowledgments, I felt bad after reading it because I went, these are honest intentions. She had actual passion behind it, and
for sure.
Yeah, it feels bad. But at the same time, I can't give this a pass.
Yeah.
I
don't know what else I can say about it.
We need to stop streaming in competition with Royce.
I don't think this is any competition to Royce.
No.
We're basically just ranting at this point.
This is something people will listen to the next day. They're right now. They're all over where they should be at Iron Age Nights.
I gotta bring it up. Oh, look, it's Foxy. I have to bring it up that this freaking setup for the Academy, God, it bothers me. It really just, that was one of the biggest grievances I had at the very start of the book.
The throwaway of life?
It makes no sense. Yeah.
Actually, it scares away. Who's the
god so deadly to where it makes no sense. Like, it's actually impractical how many bodies they're throwing at a wall.
That's because they got an NPC generator off to the side just to provide more for when needed.
So I'm like, okay, you're dealing with this big, what would we call it, a border crisis at this point, at the start of the book. I mean, we're dealing with like a border crisis that's going on, not like a full outright war, but definite border crisis with the enemy of Navari.
And refreshingly, it was not a commentary on our real world border crisis at all, thankfully.
Not to my knowledge, no.
It did not come across as any kind of allegory to that at all.
No, to Yara's credit, no, I didn't get anything like this as being allegorical of like something particular in current day.
What do you mean? The Griffin Riders are obviously Mexican. Obviously. It's right in your face.
Like I said, though, there's honest intentions behind this. I just think the execution was just botched.
But I'm trying to think here. I'm like, all right, so we have this academy set up. and there's multiple different branches of the military, and everybody has a use. We're told repeatedly that there's this scribe quadrant for people that aren't necessarily physically capable of doing combat. They're very useful in terms of communication, in terms of intelligence gathering. Like, you want these scribes. That's what I've gathered from this book. These scribes are one of the most important quadrants in this academy for the military. But instead, we're told that, like, yeah, if you apply to the Dragon Riders, well, they're going to try to kill you at every moment. Like,
Also,
there's like a
her mother basically giving her daughter a death sentence by forcing her to be a Dragon Rider.
Yeah, you want to know what the justification for that turned out to be, and it's going to make you groan.
It's really stupid.
Tell me. Just tell
Tell
me.
us, Wrangler.
Because she knew if she went to the scribe quadrant, she would find out about the whole Venom Wyvern thing. She would figure it out, and then the state would want her executed. So she put her in the dragon in the rider quadrant, and oh, by the way,
she
hired Zayden to keep her alive.
Why didn't you just put her in like infantry or something?
Because they're useless.
And the story doesn't happen.
Because Bride, every Soren Gale has to be a rider. That's their family slogan.
Yeah. If you're not, you're just trash. You have to lose the Soren.
Yeah, she married a scribe.
Yeah, right before. I'm going to assume nobody gives a shit about spoilers for the second book. So, right before General Soren Gale died, she told the argument she was having with Violet was Violet said, "Well, why do you hate scribes so much?" She goes, "I don't. I married your father." And that's where she said, "I put you over here to make sure you didn't find out, to keep you out of the conspiracy, blah, blah, blah." And this conspiracy can't hold up because the dragons know, and there's no way with the bonds they shared that the dragons would not have told their writers here and there, and it would have gotten out.
Yeah.
All right, this is off topic.
Wait. My headcanon for why she married a dweeby scribe who was obviously weaker than his wife. I always just assumed he had a giant crank. That really fit in with her with this kind of style of book.
Now, funny thing about how they justified all the deaths and they're like okay with it is because they're constantly, it seems their favorite god is Malik, the god of death. That sounds awfully close to Molech, and it's like, okay, so the government's run by a death cult. Now it makes sense.
Well, I also always saw General Sorengale, every time she's described and even her characterization, it reminds me a lot of General Karst. And I went, that's probably not a good indication for me if the protagonist's mother feels like a fucking villain.
Well,
because she is.
Well, there's a difference. Setting and circumstance matters. For General Karst, in her society, it fits. It's like you can have a society that borderline worships death in battle or death in training for battle. Look at the Spartans. Like, you believe that. With this society, there's too many other things that don't lead into it. It doesn't make sense that they would worship death. Their society is not structured the way that they think, what they value. It does not equal a society that worships death, except for a few sparse things.
I also don't mean to be that guy, but this, like, Navari, this kingdom seems surprisingly fascistic in how it operates, at least on the level of the school, because most places would be like, oh, you fail, you get expunged, you're no longer part of here.
And Navari?
Debts here too.
Yeah. That was a conversation.
The weak die.
And they had with the Griffin Flyers when they teamed up in the second book. They're like, why? They're like, hold on, if you miss your Griffin, you don't fall to your death? They're like, no, we swim to the edge of the river and we go to infantry or artillery.
Okay, this brings back my point to, like, you have all these different branches that are very important. But then you have just the Dragon Riders over here just like killing everybody off left and right. Initiation. Like
that's what they were pointing out. Exactly that.
The whole thing was the rebellion was started because they were lying, and then they decided to grab the rebels, execute them in front of their children, and then force their children to join the dragon because they think, oh, they'll all die. Even though, I don't know, every rebellion member we met in this fucking book have all become dragon riders.
And how,
they're all really powerful too.
The ones who survived, anyway. But where it gets even worse is, why did they think the dragons wouldn't choose them when the dragons know about the Venom and the Wyvern, which the whole revolution was about to begin with? Why wouldn't the dragons choose them?
I think it all comes back to the romance angle, because a lot of it feeds back into Xaden as a character. In fact, he is central to the rebellion plot. And I'm going to be honest, I think a lot of it feeds into the narrative description on why he has like 107 scars on his back. How Violet constantly fawns over that. It's like, oh, he has scars all over his back. He's like, yeah, a scar for each rebel kid that I saved. I'm like, oh, God. We're feeding into that bullshit.
So what was he? Was he just, did he have a porcupine he was just like lean back against every night? It's like, all right, that's like 32 more.
No, Jen Sorengale cut them in, one for each. What she took a knife and sliced his back, put a deep gash, one for each rebellion child that he was responsible for. There's also another gash on his shoulder, and that one was put there for Violet.
Hold up. 107 deep slashes.
Yes.
Dude's dead.
Yeah.
I really think it's meant to be. I think it feeds into the idea of where it's like, at first Xaden is this mysterious, like, dark, secretive fuckboy. That's basically what he is. And then by the end it's like,
just imagine Vin Diesel in Pitch Black, but with hair.
In the end, he's actually the more altruistic character compared to Dane. Far more
it's like, oh, he's just misunderstood, and then by the end of the book, you're like, oh, he is the better character. Why are we following Sorengale?
And if anybody cares, Dane turns it around in a second.
Okay, Dane is insufferable in this book. Like,
oh,
yes, he is.
All the way through.
It's the clearest example of, I don't know. Like, I've never met someone like that in real life. Like, I've met people who have had a phase of like acting like him, but it only lasted like maybe 2 months at the longest.
It's his whole character. There is nothing else about him.
Oh.
That, and he has to follow rules. Yes. He's a goody two shoes to the point where it makes him fuck up.
He's a goody two shoes to the point that he's still a virgin. Okay.
He's like, we can't do that. It's against the rules.
Well, isn't it like, it's kind of implied that he ends up fucking Amber Mavis at one point. That's why they're attached.
I thought that he had, like, beforehand. Like, I thought that was like a secret that was going to come out. I was very disappointed that I never.
He's talking. He was like, It talks about him blushing. Very good friends with Amber. That's how we kind of help each other.
Was that the one that tried to get her killed and got executed?
Are you talking about the character we met one time? Was the big reveal that she was the traitor? The character we met one time before?
Yeah, she ends up getting scorched by what is it? Is it Terran? Is that the dragon's name?
That's right.
Actually, I don't know if it was just Terran. I thought it was a group of dragons all kind of converged on that one, because it was kind of a ceremonial execution.
It was a ceremonial execution, but Terran was the one who actually burned her to death.
What was the name of Xaden's dragon?
Oh,
Segale.
Anyways, he was giving her the BBDC, you know.
That was such a funny, like, it's such a predictable thing in the book. It's like, hey, so our dragons are getting frisky. How you doing?
Oh no, that's the rapey part.
They're like, oh yeah, we're horny because our dragons are fucking. Here, want to smoke some weed? It really takes the edge off.
Yeah, that won't make it worse.
And then he was teaching her to do wards and stuff, and then she's straight up like, he keeps saying no. Yeah, I get it. He kissed her, but he was saying no, we shouldn't do this, and she's like, oh bitch, you better.
Violence, no means no.
Why did the editors authorize this to be published now? Because here's the thing that really infuriates me. I think there is generally great concepts that can be brought out of this world that Yaros has created, but it gotta get run through several more edits.
Wait.
This feels like
developmental editor failed her greatly.
No, guys. Billy, shush. You guys are missing the point. The editors didn't need to go through this again. The end product that we have was the end goal product of this book. That is what the people who publish this kind of story are wanting to do. The stuff that we care about, they do not care about. And most of the readership for this book also does not care about.
I think
So
that
I'm
should have gotten
backwards. I'm looking at the political intrigue and the combat capabilities and the armies. That's all backdrop, and I'm looking at as the feature.
I can't stand this setup for the Basgiff War College. I can type it out. Basgiff. I can't stand it. Basgiff. I can't stand it, especially because what frustrates me is that apparently Yaros is some type of historian, has majored, I think, in Euro history. That's what's infuriating me. And I'm like, okay, have you studied how war colleges operate? Now, obviously, this is a fantasy.
Redoubt. She looked over. Have you read Harry Potter? Have you?
Hold up.
Y'all also, have you read porn? Now take those two things, combine them. Throwing dragons.
Like, you mean read porn? You watch porn
this is
on mute.
My principal problem with this whole world building. It's like, all right, so you should be aware as a historian of how roughly war colleges operate. All of this attitude of trying to kill everybody off left and right and trying to sleep with everybody would not be accepted. Now, on another hand, you could say, well, they're trying to do the fittest of the fit, and it's just fantasy, and I'm being inspired by Sparta. First, you're wrongly taking inspiration from Sparta. Second, it's like, okay, so I'm willing to buy in, like, well, this is a much smaller scale population Navarre is than, say, the United States or the British Empire. And there wouldn't be specialized war academies. There would just be one because of such small population. Keep in mind that the United States, one of the largest countries in the world, has war colleges specifically for certain officers of certain branches of the military, not counting the actual foot soldiers with their training camps. They have a wide variety. But
does Buds count?
Buds?
Where the SEALs train?
That would count. But my point is, there's all these different things on a large scale. Now, I can understand the argument that it's like, hey, Navarre is a very small population. It's a relatively small world. They really only need one war college. That's fair. I have no problem with that. But I have a really hard time grasping, okay, this is now a small population. They only need one war college. So why are you having them all get killed in initiation or during their time during training? Once you want to use that very small finite population, you realize, hey, this is not working out for you in the riders quadrant. Let's send you off to one of the many other quadrants where you have much more value. Because again, we have learned, I think the scribe quadrant may be one of, if not the most important quadrants of all the part of
one of the most difficult to get into. Not physically difficult, but mentally.
Also, I don't think, like, if it was just one weird thing about the college, I think we could all take that pill and swallow it. If it was just that they, like, there's a high mortality rate and that it's meant to, like, cull the weak and all that, fine. Also encouraging them to have fierce competition where they're allowed to kill each other outside of training, by itself, not a bad thing. But with that, it doesn't make sense. And then also, it's like also allowing that, like, the people in the college, like, being like, all right, you guys can, like, be boinking each other or killing each other whenever you like.
Crazy shit occurred in West Point's history. I just look up the eggnog riot in the 1830s. I think it was the 1830s.
The only problem is when their government does things that are just so dumb, and I'm like, there's no good way to justify that. And then I look at our own government, I'm like, oh crap.
I also just think I think the book tries way too hard to try and re-emphasize how deadly this college is. It's not just one step. It's not just 3 steps. It's not just 10 steps. Every single step of the way is meant to be highly deadly, to the point where it becomes comical.
That's why I said the only way this works in my head canon is the government is run by a death cult.
Hold up. Y'all are forgetting one massive aspect as well. You could go through all this, survive, do really well, not get a dragon because there's not enough dragons.
Or also just have your dragon talk about a dragon that continued to just drop off new people that it had bonded with.
Yeah, right. That I thought was absolutely dumb.
Like getting dropped by a dragon that you had bonded with, that is a perfectly common way to die in this book. On top of not manifesting your power in time, which basically means you spontaneously combust. You just burst
Oh,
into flames.
yeah.
Or
There is
having a
also
bad
being
power.
an intrinsic, which is, you can read everybody's minds. You're now an enemy to the state, and you are immediately killed.
Yep, national security risk.
This power turns you into River Tam from Firefly. You're done.
Another risk is if your power is too powerful and you can potentially lose control, then you either kill yourself or everybody else is forced to kill you.
Also, let's have the most important quadrant in our military, the one we revere and venerate the most, the one with such a high mortality rate. Let's also make sure that entire concept is dependent on giant magical creatures that we cannot control.
Yes.
It's like oh, the dragons, they just work with us for some. They explain why, but it does not work.
They work with them because they defend their hatchery. Yes.
I kind of feel like the dragons could defend
those
their
words
own
are just
hatchery.
uttered.
Yeah. It's
We
like,
forgot
oh
to
yeah,
mention
these
the dumb Jack.
these dragons are just as powerful and intelligent as people, and probably more so. But they can't use their power but a better writer could have made that cool, but not this.
He was trying to work out the balance of the whole thing. Like, for example, do you know what prevents the dragons from building things? Even though they're as smart as people, they have no opposable thumbs. Same thing with the griffins. I'm pretty much assuming. But
you would imagine they'd still be able to put things together with, like, I don't know, using their jaw or something like that, finding some sort of like contraption or compromise they could work with,
or just get along with the people.
Hear me out. Magic. Imagine
that too. Like they are a magic source. They can actually just whip up a bunch of slaves, bond with them, and say, "Yeah, you have magic powers. Now do our bidding."
Oh, Otter. Now that you've read the whole book, and I know you read the script in my Riddick theory, does it fit?
Yeah, no. I'm trying to remember the Riddick theory specifically
about the ice.
Oh yeah. I know what you're talking about now. Yeah, that was
especially when I started counting BTUs, but
yeah, by that point it's no longer energy; it's a lack of energy, so it'd actually be sapping it away from them.
Oh, I was thinking of the theory that this is future Earth. I don't think she's clever enough to make that the case.
I do think it's future Earth because the Gregorian calendar, the imperial measuring system, and because you mentioned letters in the word and it's confirmed that they're speaking English.
It is.
So the only way it makes sense is it's future Earth.
Because I think it's just because she's not a deep thinking writer in that way. This audience would not be able to handle anything besides that. Also,
I need to mention, we may discover the truth if that Yaros is this deep of a writer, because she said this is going to be a 5-book series, not a trilogy, a 5-book series.
All I'll say is the map looks surprisingly similar to Australia.
Actually, are we not sure that this is just based off of everyday life in Australia? Are we positive?
But where are the emus killing the Australians?
I think the emus are actually the griffins, and we've just been misidentified the entire time. The emu war was a serious affair, apparently.
And the dragons are what are they? Monitor lizards?
They're Komodo dragons.
Y'all keep saying world, but there's we only know 2 countries.
There are 2 countries and Venom and a bunch of barons that they ended up ravaging hundreds of years previously.
Also, can we talk about how this isolationist, very war propagandized society is super diverse with its people in the mountains? How?
In the mountains.
I just saw it as checking those boxes, That's all I saw there.
I'm still going to criticize
looking around the Appalachians yes, this is what the mountains totally look like.
You know what? I'll take that
over. Yes, the diversity hire. Why, come on into this death college.
Also,
come on in, enjoy our death call. Come on in, enjoy our death call.
Also, children of the traitors who we executed in front of you as children. How about we put you in the highest, like the most venerated, like space in our military with the most powerful weapons at our disposal? How about that?
Yes, because
Sure,
we all think
that
you're going to
cannot go
die.
wrong.
By the way, all
Which
of
makes-
the rebel
yeah,
traitors,
all-
children are all dragon riders by the end of this first one.
Yeah, they're
And-
all
and
required
almost
to
all of
go
them made it.
into the college as part of their avoiding execution.
That's like giving me a poor reminder of what happened after the Battle of Culloden in like 1746. Very brief history lesson. A sect of Scotland tried to claim they're the rightful heir of the English throne. Bad things happened to them. Bonnie Prince Charles and his army got wiped out, and England reaffirmed their control over Scotland. So the English gave the Scottish a decision. You can stay here in Europe and basically be under our thumb, or you go to North America and expel the French and their native allies out of our colonies. And then you can retain your culture if you go over there. Guess which one they chose? Getting
Let me
thousands
guess.
of miles away from the English king. Full Highlander regiments fought in the 7 Years' War of the 1750s and the Revolution, and really all the way up to even to this present day, there's some remnants of the Highlander units still in the British military.
Yep.
Why don't you use that as
Oh,
an
wow.
example? If you're a historian, why don't you use that? Like, hey, here's a group of people that we have taken over and occupied. They don't like us. Let's send them far, far away where they won't like rebel against us again.
But yeah,
But
no. How
please-
about we're gonna have all of these very different, ethnically diverse people in a very small area of this world that's been created. All travel a small distance to this mountainous war college, and it's all gonna be fine. There will be
If nothing
there will be
else-
no tension. There will be no
If-
tension whatsoever. It will be
if-
fine.
If nothing else, please just give more than one character voice. If nothing else, just that. Like, don't. So many
But-
one-word
but
sentences.
we
Yeah,
did say
if she's
that in
going
the
to do
final
5 more
chapter.
books, what and you all had
Four
the
more
chance to
books,
say
4 more
talk to her. What advice would you give her to try and, if you're going to do it anyway, here, this will make it better? What would you say to her?
Stay in your lane and don't expect people with more refined taste to enjoy your story.
Also, wasn't the
She's made a killing. If like her audience, they love the people who are there trying to sell this book to, loved this book.
Then
And
she shouldn't
like I
change
said-
it, to be honest. As much as we
Yeah.
don't like it, this isn't. She's
I
got to
agree.
make it for her audience.
I agree with you, Wrangler. No, I'm like, hey, if this is making you billions of dollars, no, you found a way to make money.
You found
I'm
your
not-
niche.
I guess it bugs me because, like I said, I see ideas in here that are so cool, and I'm like, if she took the time to build it up right and
No,
refined a few things,
Yeah.
this could have been awesome.
The dragon bonding system is pretty decent. Like I would tweak it a little bit, but it's pretty good. I like it. It's like it's better than Aragon. I'll say that.
It's a little overpowered. I think some of the power should have been toned down, but it's a great way of incorporating kind of a soft and harder magic system.
Also, is it just me or
Well,
did
it
it feel
definitely
like
got soft
like their
and hard at
powers
one
didn't
point.
feel like fantasy power? Their powers did not feel like fantasy powers. They felt like
Superhero powers. Yeah,
like
it
My
did.
Hero
Signets
Academia,
do,
X-Men
but
BS.
but the lesser magics are more traditional. They use runes or casting or whatever. But those are the lesser. Those have that fantasy feel. But their signets, you're right, feel straight up superhero.
Well, I think a lot of it kind of feeds back in the Brandon Sanderson type of magic system where it's like there's defined rules. It often feels like superpowers. Am I getting that wrong, Christian? I haven't read Brandon
Otter,
Sanderson.
I may fly to Florida right now and slap you across the face.
Okay.
No. You're right in your idea that it does feel like there is an element of it feels like more like a science-based like chemistry kind of situation. Like there are rules, and if you combine certain things, it does create. But it doesn't. It still feels mystical, and it still feels magical. And
I know I'm boiling it down. I'm
like
overthinking
when they go into the runes in the second book, that does feel more mystical, traditional magic type for the rune work.
Hold on, I'm not quite done here. No, like Otter, I'll say this. Like I've his main series that my favorite one is Stormlight Archive. I've read the entire series of 3 or 4 books now, maybe 4 times in total, and it's incredible. I'm going to reread it again. But it wasn't until after my last reread that someone pointed out, "Oh, yeah, this is like there's a leveling class system." I'm like, "No, there's not." Oh my god, there is a level system and a class system, and I just didn't realize it because of how well done it is.
Just naturally fits in there, and it doesn't stand out. It just blends.
Well, I'm also speaking from a lack of actually reading Brandon Sanderson. I'm generalizing heavily. From how I've heard him speak specifically about writing and magic, he'll also admit it's like when you're writing magic, there needs to be an element of mystery to it in some varying degree, no matter what it is. It doesn't have to be complete though, but
I failed in that aspect though.
It doesn't have to go as far as like a Tolkien or a Razorfist in terms of being soft, but there should be mystery. Right. It depends. Like there are some things, like even once you know everything, there are some things that you don't really fully understand. There is always that mysterious element. And some of his magic systems are better than others. The Stormlight magic system is maybe the coolest looking, but maybe my favorite is the Breath system from Warbreaker. That's maybe one of the coolest magic systems I've ever seen in the way that it's implemented, and like because there's an element of subjectivity.
What was it called? Lightbringer?
No. He has a one-off book called Warbreaker, and this is not a spoiler. Every fantasy book that he writes is part of the Cosmere, and so they do connect to one another. Warbreaker is not part of a series, and so
it's in that same universe's continuity, but it's all on its own.
Each series or book or individual book will take place on a different planet within the same universe. And there are ways that those separate places can connect. And without getting into spoilers, that's about all I can say. But it's
sounds pretty cool.
It's pretty unparalleled. And there is a character that appears in almost every story, and you have to look for him. He will be there, but it's very
I found Waldo.
Spotting him. Pretty much, man. It's like sometimes he's a very important character. Other times it's just like this random guy in the background mentioned. I'm like, it's him.
One thing I was really disappointed about in this book was the her lightning powers. They're very underused.
Oh, not in sex.
Like the most she does with it is destroying her own room and blowing out windows.
Yeah, no, Zeta was blowing her back out. She was blowing out his window. It's a give and take kind of relationship.
Those chapters devolve into those chapters are so smutty. They're just it's porn at that point.
I have a weird opinion on it. She either had to dial it back or she had to go even further. I feel like she didn't really land on a good medium ground for that. She could have gone further or she could have gone less. I
hope that doesn't mean she continues to try and escalate it through the whole thing.
Oh no, by the end they're going to be playing with they're going to have magical dragon sex toys.
Because I think they're already at the point of diminishing returns on that subject.
For me, I think she goes way too far with it in the first book. To the point where it's just totally jarring. It comes out of nowhere, and you're like, "Hold on, this got really graphic."
I think that
it's more the same in the second.
What really agitated me, and this is just my own personal bias. We just read Deluxe Volume 3 and 4 of Berserk recently, so my brain subconsciously has all of the Casca and Guts sequences in the back of my brain while I'm reading that trilogy that Yara cursed us with near the end of this book.
Redoubt, is this your subtle way of implying that you beat off to Berserk, or I'm just curious,
No, what I'm saying is Berserk is a far superior world-building exercise than Fourth Wing.
I know, even sexually.
Fun story, I actually give a shit about those about Casca and Guts.
Yeah.
I don't give a shit about Zayden and Violet.
I think my main problem with this book is the same problem I had with another author I read recently. Unfortunately, an indie author who does really good writing in some ways, but it's like, I don't believe these characters. I do not believe this world. This is not how people are. This is not how people act in most circumstances. I just do not believe this. That was maybe my biggest takeaway and biggest problem with this story.
The characters are very one note. It's rare when they're not. I'm gonna go back to Dane. I think Dane is the perfect example of a character that's played up more than he actually deserves to be. It's a great example of telling a character to you versus showing a character to you.
100%.
Like the very first chapter, the main character is essentially telling you, "Oh, we've been childhood friends our whole lives. He's such a great guy. I love everything about him. I love him." And then shows
they don't act anything like friends.
Right. Then it actually shows him, and I'm like, how are these people ever friends? He's constantly trying to control her.
Also, most of them are kind of crappy people.
Yeah.
But how could they not be growing up in this society?
You know what? I hope the Griffins win. That's what I'll say. Okay, wipe them out. Finish. Actually, Venom, finish it. Finish the job.
Venom are the real heroes.
You see one that looks like Scorpion pop up and throw out that freaking spear. Get over here. Finish him.
When you said Scorpion, I knew what you were talking about, but I was picturing the really bad CGI rock Scorpion King from The Mummy Returns.
I don't understand that, by the way. The first Mummy movie, the CGI was on point. The second one, I'm like, why doesn't it look quite as good as the first? And then Scorpion King,
most of the time it's...
It looked video game level for the time, or just slightly above, but it did not look movie level. The first one was...
Oh, God.
They had it good in the first one.
I bawl laughing anytime I rewatch WrestleMania 17, and they're talking about, like, they have to hype up the Scorpion King, and I'm like, oh, God. You poor bastard.
What did you think? But what did you think of the movie The Scorpion King?
Conceptually, it's cool.
I've never watched it.
It reminded me of like Egyptian Conan a little bit.
It feels like Conan,
it was very much a sword and sorcery.
Yeah.
I liked his brother there, the Indian guy. I used to see him all the time. He played Bobby Six Shooter, Six Killer, or Six something in Renegade. That dude used to pop up in a lot of stuff. He was always fun on screen. I wonder what happened to him. All of a sudden, he was just gone.
Heart attack, maybe. I'm not sure.
I hope not.
I hope not too. But I think the problem with Scorpion King is like they had some cool ideas. They bit into the cheese a little bit more than I think they needed. That, and they had these really incredible shots and really incredible things that they did. That scene where the Rock is buried and they have those ants going around him, it looks really bad, like really bad CGI. You know what's really disappointing? That was not CGI. He did grab one of those giant biting ants and bite its head off, and that was real, but it looks really, really fake.
Wow. I always thought that was just
bad CGI.
Special effects.
Yeah. Well, Scorpion King is my guilty pleasure movie. It's not good, but I enjoy watching it.
It's a fun enough movie. What I think it was missing, it feels like Conan Light to me, and I think one of the big things about a lot of swords and sorcery that makes it entertaining, there's a certain edge to swords and sorcery. I think to a certain degree, like having there be a certain level of blood and violence, and also tits. Like it kind of helps round it out. It needs that bit of
round
edge.
it out, really.
Rounds it out.
But we kind of get that with Kelly Hu, even though she's not endowed enough to be considered well endowed. She is very pretty.
Like it halfway goes there.
The main love interest in the movie, she was hot as shit. Childhood fantasy boy.
I'm Billy. I'm right there with you.
Also,
no doubt, but she just her boobs are small.
You know what scene was burned into my fucking mind is when she's in the bath.
Oh yeah.
Where she's like, "Are you gonna capture me?" Or are you just gonna stare?
It was very, very opening of The Witcher 3 kind of thing there going on.
I was like, only if this movie was rated R.
Well, it's like the movie halfway goes.
Little 12-year-old Billy Bob, a little bit more. Come on.
It almost goes there with the Edge. I think it needed just a little bit more, and I think it would have been. I think it would have helped it. This is something I also think the first Mummy movie did, but in a different way. Not necessarily tits, but violence. Like that was something the first Mummy movie did very well.
Yeah, the first Mummy movie is a perfect movie. I
fucking love that movie. It's also a great. It's a great movie that doesn't have a character development arc.
Yeah, they're all well. No, Evie kind of does. Evie does. Yeah.
I'm not really watching for Evie. I'm watching for. I'm too drunk. Brendan Fraser's character.
Yeah, that Mummy movie tone that there's dark, dire things happening, but it still had that lighthearted feel to it somehow throughout the whole thing. That was the tone I was trying to hit when I wrote the first book.
It's a very pulpy movie.
The 1999 The Mummy's one of the last great adventure films, in my opinion.
What were they on in the late 90s, early 2000s? Some of the adventure films from then are just so they're like just on the verge, like with emerging technology. It all practical and digital passable, practical looks great. You have that. You have like The Mask of Zorro also. That's another great adventure movie. What happened, man?
Antonio Banderas.
You know what I love about the first, the second one, even the third one? Unlike Indiana Jones, where he doesn't get the treasure or anything, he doesn't really get anything out of it at the end of the movie. And Mummy, each one they get more and more filthy rich.
Yeah, it's actually really funny.
The third one really suffered from the lack of Rachel Weisz.
Oh yeah, like it's too bad. Like the woman they had replace her, she's a fine actress. Yeah. But she's not Rachel Weisz. And
agreed. I was like, she's an awesome actress. I like her. I liked her in Coyote Ugly. I liked her in NCIS. I couldn't stand her there because she just didn't fit.
She's also smoking hot, especially in the first Mummy movie. I'm like, oh, childhood crush, easy.
Oh, yeah. That.
Oh, I'm gonna completely disappoint you because I love the Mummy chick.
Anaxunamun.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, she's really good looking too.
Squinty-eyed. How dare you? No, Billy Bob, you and I, we
brother.
Oh well, she's just a straight up static beauty.
I can't say what I was about to say. That's going to be I'm going to get canceled again.
Very not safe for YouTube.
Again.
Anyways, the third movie, it wasn't their fault. I think she was asking for like way too much money.
Oh, perhaps, but it definitely did suffer from her not being there.
They should not have made the third movie. We did not need to go to China. It
didn't need to be China, but he could have done something.
I liked it when the Yetis kicked the field goal with one of the bad guys. That was just fun.
It's so stupid, but it's really funny.
No, like the second one. The second one is stupid, but I love it. The third one is stupid, and I don't love it. That's all there is to it, man. Like the second one still had charm. It still had that fun kind of feel. The third one, it feels like it's kind of gone. Like they didn't quite get
some jokes I liked in it. I'm gonna be honest with you. I like when he just shot the fucking fish, and then they cut to them digging the bullets out when they're eating. I didn't like that. I didn't like the fucking cow yakking or whatever.
Or like, yeah, Jet Li. I'm like, you're a good actor. Why this is kind of a wasted role for you in this movie, I think.
I like how we started talking about Fourth Wing. Now we're on a giant tangent about adventure movies.
Because we want to talk about movies and things that we like.
Oh, you know what the worst sequels are? The Scorpion Kings one, the second one, and the fucking third, fourth, fifth one.
Yeah, there's like 3 or 4 of those things, dude.
I only saw the first one. It sounds like I made the right choice in not watching any of the sequels.
I feel like I remember liking some stuff about the second one, but I couldn't tell you what. I can't even remember that movie. I just remember
the second one was like a prequel. It did have the biggest budget. I think the main villain was the dude who played Shao Kahn and a bunch of other little small characters.
Yeah, I remember liking the villain.
I was like, this is the best part.
Another adventure movie, I think it's not exactly underrated or underappreciated, but I'm just mentioning it because I watched it last weekend. Big Trouble in Little China. I put that on a very similar level of quality to The Mummy.
The Goonies too.
In Little China.
The Goonies as well. Goonies is really good, really fun.
We don't get movies like that anymore.
You still need to watch Crybaby.
It's all go big or go home with the budgets now.
I miss
Don't forget the
adventure
Purple
movies
Sky
that-
Laser.
I miss adventure movies where it feels like there's just that little bit of edge where there's that sense of danger that the characters are in over their head. You know, you got that with the Goonies. You got that with Big Trouble in Little China. You got it with the Mummy. It's like they're all in over their head. They're fun, innocent stories, fun, innocent characters in a world that is not so fun and innocent. There's actual some
Well, the main
fucking
character in
weird
Big
shit
Trouble in
going
Little-
on.
The main character in Big Trouble in Little China goes into the final fight with lipstick still on his face.
Just Kurt
It's all
Russell
in the
doing a
rest.
John Wayne impression.
Jack Burton don't give a fuck.
Oh man.
You know what old Jack Burton,
Says.
whenever you're sticking it to the man, backs against the wall. Have you paid your dues, Jack? Well, check is in the
Big
mail.
fight out of Italian sub.
I like how he's talking on the CB like it's a radio show broadcast, scheduled radio show broadcast or something.
He's just speaking out to nothing. It's great.
Anyways, this book is so bad that we're talking about Scorpion King, Mummy, and Big Trouble in Little China.
No, we're here now because I must bring up one of probably my favorite sequence in Big Trouble in Little China. This horrific monster, because it's John Carpenter, and even though it's an adventure, yes, there's going to still be horrific practical effects, comes out of the woodwork, and Victor Wong throws some type of magic bomb, and he's like, "You will come out no more." And Kurt Russell got the greatest reaction ever. What won't come out no more? And it's never explained.
And then he's walking away, he looks back at it and goes, shit.
I love the one henchman for Lo Pan in the movie, where it's like his whole thing throughout the entire movie is just being over the top with his fighting style. Then he sees that his master is dead. So what is his strategy? Oh yeah, just blow yourself up, quite literally. And it's the most horrifying practical effects, but they're amazing.
Which Lopan? Little basket case on wheels or 10-foot tall roadblock?
Hollow? Hollow. Fuck it.
Well, what happened to Christian?
He gave up on us. He ran away.
Hey, can you blame him?
Here's the thing. Next panel is just going to be him and Frequency, because I think they're the only ones.
I'm sorry. I can't. This book. Oh, by the way, I wanted to mention. Remember how I mentioned I was going to keep track of all the swears in this book?
Yeah, you break out the supercomputer plus abacus.
So I kind of did that. I got up till chapter 7. And well, the first 3 chapters, I noticed a trend. I shit you not. Each of the first 3 chapters had 6 swears per chapter. Now, for the record, I'm counting only fuck, shit, and ass. Not counting damn, not counting bitch, not counting all that. So
what about dick? How many dicks did you count, Redoubt?
Does she say dick or she says cock in this book?
There is mention of cock. There is mention of clit.
Do you want the numbers? Do you want the numbers, Mason?
Yes, numbers, please.
So, I thought I had a trend. I'm like, that's interesting. 6 swears per chapter. I wonder if there's like a limit the editor put on them. Well, we get to chapter 4, and that broke that away. And I'm like, oh. Okay. And then by chapter 7, I realized this is a futile effort. I have better things to use my precious time on this planet. So I stopped counting at chapter 7. We had passed 50 swears. 50
Redoubt, if you came to that conclusion, did you not realize what you were doing in reading this book?
Look, I try to be a glass half full guy until about halfway through, and then I'm a glass half empty guy. So by the 7th chapter, again, we're only a little more than 100 pages into this book. We're 1/7 of the way in, if I'm not mistaken. What's the word count again? I didn't get a good word count because I was reading digitally.
It's like 600 or 700 pages.
Oh, Jesus Christ! So
it's huge.
There are 50.
Plug it into the equation
of shit, fuck, and ass in just 1/7 of this book. Let that sink in.
Did you
do
get
the
to,
math?
What was the sex scene chapters? I forgot where it was.
I wasn't counting by that.
There are also a lot. Like you talk about swearing. The sex scene chapters. It's like fuck, like 2 or 3 times every line. It's like I know they're talking dirty to each other, but come on, really?
All right, I'm gonna bring up one thing. George R. R. Martin, I shit on him for like the sex scenes because they are silly, but at least they have fun prose and like the.
At least there's a level of uncomfortable realism to them. That's
right,
that's
and
entertaining.
also he's using creative ways to describe stuff. He literally calls one a fat pink mask. Mirror swap. Okay.
Mirror swap.
Yes, all of this. And it's all fucking hilarious. You know, it makes the sex scenes just silly. They're fun. There's something enjoyable. These are not like this. These are just flat out. He's rubbing my clit and all this other shit with his cock. And
now we got to plug this book into an AI and say rewrite it in the style of Dr. Seuss and see what it spits out.
Oh no!
God! Oh God!
But the sex scenes are all like that.
And next chapter, is that a bit on my clinch?
Oh, by the way, this was the stupidest fucking reveal in the book.
Oh, no.
They've been banging each other for like a week, 2 weeks, maybe more. Who knows? Undiscriminated amount of time. And every time they fuck, she has storm powers, so it shoots lightning and blows up trees outside of their room.
They
Also
destroy the room every time they climax.
Here's the thing. Everyone knows she has storm powers, but she's like, "Ooh, people are gonna. We got to be secretive, and
they're gonna find out, sweetie. Let me tell you."
But here's the stupid part. Dylan finds out when they're at the when they're about to head off to the war game shit or whatever to the outpost outside.
Yeah.
And then Dylan's like, "I heard rumors, bitch. Did you not look outside? How are you hearing rumors?"
It's like, bitch, there's no forest left for how many of them got burned down.
Oh, when she blows out the window.
Yeah. She literally burns the curtains.
You know what? The next time the Venom attack, they should just bang.
It's like you let your shadows, let your lightning flow loose. And then that's where we find out that Zayden has a little problem, and it's like, oh, the shadow's too fast. Oh.
The funniest bit was when they were like telepathically flirting with each other while they were eating, like in a public space in like their cafe area.
Oh no, I liked them being just shy of insertion on the training mat and being like, oh, I hope they don't find out.
Okay. By the way, little problem. We have he lasted 6 fucking times, one after another.
Billy, that's more than possible.
No,
that's more than possible.
No,
in Billy. Quick succession like that.
In quick
what
succession.
Does it say about American society that this is one of the highest selling books in our country right now?
All I could think of was that scene from Wedding Crashers when the butler comes up and goes, "How much jam do you have?"
Oh, God.
Yeah. And when she meets her sister later on, and then you have that fucking his sister bitches out Dylan because he's being a dick because her and Zayden or whatever. We follow that chapter up with, "Oh, they're attacking. Gotta go," and then Zayden gets her to go. And then it cuts literally to them talking while drinking coffee in a cafeteria.
She's basically saying, "I hate you now," as they're both sipping coffee, while she doesn't know if her sister's alive or not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, what else? Oh, there's no food descriptions at all in this book, by the way.
Well, she's not George R. R. Martin. I mean, she doesn't dedicate.
It isn't just George R. R. Martin. You notice a lot of authors will at least have food somewhere in this book.
She's not a Japanese animator. She doesn't give gratuitous details on how gorgeous.
I'm not saying you need gratuitous details. We get none.
Oh no, we do get some. This food is poisoned, and nobody's figured it out except for.
Jack. Did we mention Jack, the fucking rival of her that for some reason just wants to kill her?
What is his reasoning for wanting to kill her? Because he is. There is no.
He wanted to kill a lot of people and killed them.
I believe he is what they call an incel in universe. I believe that's what they call him.
He has
he killed a few people right off the bat. He's just a psycho, and he took a swipe at her. She survived it, so he just kind of was on the hunt for her since then.
Also, the dragons, the staff, the people, the students, and nobody has almost any regard for the lives of anybody else. But for her, the dragons, everybody except for like anyone who's not deemed an automatic asshole is protecting her when nobody else.
They were also going to kill the baby dragon just because.
Yeah, there was no good reasoning behind it. It's like,
and
it's
there's no
weak. We should
any
kill
dragon would have bonded with Barlow after that. No way.
Well, I mean, it could have been a racist dragon who was like, "Fuck that gold bitch."
Also, we rely on these dragons for the most important part of our military, most powerful weapons to exist. If two happen to be bonded, they have to be together to bang regularly, or they grow sad and won't work.
Their bonds are. I hate the bond. How that works, because it's not just every rider is bound to their dragon. So it's like if their dragon dies, they die. But it's not. It doesn't work in reverse. If they die, the dragon only dies if it's a really good, really strong connection. However, if two dragons are mated, if one rider dies, the other rider dies.
What it is Taryn is said if he bonds again and his human dies, he's not going to survive another broken bond like that. He'll die. But there's nothing saying that Sigale can't survive the death of Xaden.
Yeah.
Right.
But then if one of the dragons dies, it creates a cascade.
All of them die.
Where everybody dies.
Yes, everybody if the dragon dies, all four of them go down.
Including a defenseless, not fully grown baby dragon.
And that's why I say
I think Taryn is going to die in this at some point. She's going to stay alive because of Sigale.
There is so much plot armor around the main characters because of this rule. Because all of their fates are bound together directly to Violet's fate. So if she dies, everybody else dies. If they die, she dies. So it's like if one of them dies, you have no story left. So it's like
baby come out golden.
Plot armor.
The baby is golden because the plot says that she will be golden.
Because she's a baby. When she becomes an adult, she has different color.
Also, remember when everybody gets their
DNA test?
Remember when everybody gets their dragon powers from the signet? It seems like it's implied at one point that the dragons can kind of pick and choose what power to give them to a point. Am I wrong about that? Or was it just
what it is it's the energy mix between the dragon and human, but the signet is representation of something within the personality trait of the person wielding it. The signet is actually the power of the person, but the dragon is a gas tank while the human is the engine for that signet.
No, I understand. Also, it's like almost everybody, they get their mark from the dragon. It looks like a burn mark or a scar of some kind. It's like,
well, you have to have a glowing tattoo in fantasy.
No. But
Daniel Green said it best.
Everybody else,
that video.
My signet looks like kind of a burn mark in vaguely like this shape or like a claw or a wing. It turns, it's like I got a cool Tumblr tattoo for my signet. What's going on? Again, like I wouldn't criticize this kind of thing.
And Barlow showed up with a press on.
Yeah, she. You know what I want for the next book? I want her to get the word of violence tattooed somewhere and spelled incorrectly. That's what I want. I think that's what the story needs.
She gets it tattooed on her ass for Xaden, of course.
Tramp stamp. She's got to get a tramp stamp.
I like how it's like they're complimenting each other's like asses and stuff at one point. It's like Mira just gets brought up out of the blue, even though you barely see her in this book.
Who?
Oh yeah,
her
they're
sister.
You say Mira or you mean Myra?
Myra, whatever.
They're comparing.
I think it's Mira.
And they're like, Oh yeah, you're basically flat. I don't know how anyone could like you compared to your sister.
Yeah, one of the characters that attacks Violet later, he's like, "Oh yeah, your sister is great, dad ass," and I'm like, "This is a fantasy world. Why are we saying this in a fantasy world like this, where it's much more primitive?"
Let's ride our dragons, yo.
Is it toxic to do this? I'm like,
she
oh,
says
Lord.
"for the win" multiple times in this book.
Yep.
She's also narrating her cells and stuff, kind of like reacting to her powers. I'm like, do you all have the technology level to know what cells are?
Do you know what an atom is? Do you know what a cell is?
I know a guy who knows a guy who knows a guy who may know or feign to about atoms.
Yeah.
Read out, you've not begun to defile yourself. Wait until Berserk Deluxe Volume 5.
Oh, Lord.
I don't know. I feel pretty defiled after the last volume.
Oh, just wait.
I know.
Well,
Also, again, I'm going to say this: like everything that is handled poorly in this book, in this particular genre, most books handle it even worse.
Really?
With this target, yes. Every bad thing about this book is worse in most of its contemporaries.
How is it Berserk handles a lot of this same material infinitely better?
Because Berserk is actually good and has a competent writer who knows what the fuck he's doing.
You know what? I think the writer said, "This is what I want to happen with the plot," and then tried to write the world around the already set plot instead of adjusting things.
Also, there was no build up to anything in this book. It just happened.
Except for the bad thing, like the very obvious betrayal, the very obvious shadow government, secret lies.
Right, but what I mean is like, all right, Hunger Games, you're building up to the Hunger Games, getting in there, and then getting to the conclusion. You know exactly what you're constantly reminded where
No, there's exactly like 4 pages of build up to her entering the college. Yeah, it's a lot of payoff there when she and her friends
Hunger
not
Games
only that,
half a
like,
pair of shoes.
Once we get there, are we building up to her first training fight? And then we kind of just go.
No, you're kind of just in it. Once you're in it, there's no building. There's nothing really more going on.
There's not even like a build up to the war campaign shit. To be honest, it kind of just like, oh yeah, the war camp is coming up, guys.
I got a question. Yeah, guys, I forgot. It's like in 2 weeks.
Yeah, I got a great question, and I'm gonna sound like Captain Garrett for a moment from Swords and Starships. What's Violet's save the cat moment?
She helps her friend by giving one of her shoes, which would be even worse than having a pair of shoes.
Yeah, actually, it was actually worse for Violet because she had one shoe that was slightly too big going across that thing.
But I was so hung up on that detail. I'm like, wait, why are we doing this shoe? I get why, but also this really sounds stupid. And then before I could even think of, oh, I like Violet now. Like, that's your big moment to say that you should like Violet. All there is pity for Violet. This is like Shinji Ikari in Neon Genesis Evangelion. Pity,
either pity or unjustified animosity.
She has no altruistic trait.
What the author was intending when she wouldn't kill people that were trying to kill her. And we're constantly reminded
when she chose not to kill people, when everybody on
it felt very forced.
Yeah, I'm like, no.
It's
no,
too
this
far
is
in.
not how this works.
This is just part of the plot. I'm seeing the behind the scenes now. I'm seeing what's holding up this mechanism.
I don't see it making sense in context to the world. All I see in this book is a trope, and it clumsily works with the trope. It's like at first she's like, "Oh, I don't want to kill anybody," even though they're clearly trying to kill me. And when I let them live, they're just going to keep trying to kill me. And even the other characters basically call her stupid for showing that level of mercy.
Hey, can I say this?
There are characters that choose in fiction not to kill for a variety of reasons, and when it's done well, it's one of my favorite tropes in fiction.
Yeah,
this is not
like Batman.
One of
Christian.
No,
Jack tried killing her at the bridge. Jack tried killing her during the dragon thing when they're trying to kill the dragon, and then also kill her. Jack tried killing her during the Matt thing where she fucking or poisoned him. Jack also tried to kill her when the second Matt fight where she fucking gets his allergies with orange extract. Then
Hey,
Jack
there's your food connection there, Billy.
And then Jack finally tried to kill her when they're flying on the dragons. Now this is 5 fucking times, guys.
Also, how did Jack?
Which just tells us that Jack sucks at his job.
Yes.
Well, Jack
That's
is a bad
after he tried to kill Andarna, there's no way a dragon would have chose to bond with him.
Jack is a bad one-note character, and when she is finally forced to confront, to like actually kill him out of self-defense, like she is actually saving somebody through this, even when other people are saying, "Hey, by killing one person, you are saving hundreds of more lives," she still has to mope about it.
Yeah, and on top of that, it didn't work.
Also, there's the whole shit.
Yeah, he died, didn't he?
No, he came back.
She is a small girl. That's enough of a weakness in a war college to be a substantial weakness. That she didn't have to have the weak bones and the weak ligaments,
right,
and the easily broken weak, flat, very easily hurt body. It did not. She did not need that additional weakness.
Hold up, I'm gonna pull up a picture of Gollum because this is what I envision she looks like.
It barely gives us any description of her,
which is weird in this kind of story. They almost always have I look myself in the mirror moment.
It's weird.
The only real description we get of her is when we find out that she's flat because her sister has a much more substantial set of assets.
The book focuses way more on describing Xaden, especially Dane, and a lot of the other male characters. Like, usually it's there just to describe how much Violet is getting turned on by them.
Yes.
Yes, which happens.
By the way,
fairly frequently.
What was at the beginning of the book? She's literally there. I forgot the fucking exact line, but she's like, he was talking about a fit or whatever when he was fixing her kneecap, and she was like, "There's another way for this is a good fit."
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying? This is like rape.
That line made me fucking dry heave.
Oh, share my screen, Christian.
I'm on my phone. I'm going to try.
I think if you click up, I don't know. It's been a while since I've used the phone one.
Good luck. Last time I tried that on my phone, it did not work.
Also, can we take a moment to marvel at how stupid the bit was where it's like everybody in their sparring gym stops to just like admire Xaden being shirtless?
Oh, wrong one, Christian. The screen. Does it not pull up the one I'm trying to share?
Was such a stupid moment.
Okay.
I found it. There we go.
So this is what violent looks like. Right?
No, we need a bikini shot, right?
What a pretty lady.
She runs into Xaden and goes, "My precious."
Okay, so we need to take Vin Diesel, give him dreadlocks, give him African American makeover, and then have this crawling up him like a tree, and then
hold up. All right, I'm gonna curse this stream, but I'm gonna unshare my screen just in case something. Oh my god! No.
Uh-oh.
Oh god.
The suspense is killing me. I hope it lasts.
Guys, I'm gonna show it fast because I'm gonna have to end it here pretty soon, guys. Unfortunately.
All right, I got it up.
Okay, let me see.
Do it.
Oh no. Okay, fine.
Do it now.
Why not? F it.
This is violent, guys.
We need to give her a tattoo that says violence.
Get James on it. He knows how to Photoshop.
These other images are really funny too.
Oh shit, we lost her.
Looks like E.T. working the street corner.
Oh my god.
E.T. phone home.
More like E.T. phone whore.
All right, did the stream die?
No, we're still live.
Oh my god.
Just nasty.
$5 an hour ET.
I don't know how we end this.
Not well, that's how.
Oh my
This is
Dear
so
viewer who's watching this in the year of
Oh, shit.
2029, do not.
This is what we do when Kahuna leaves us alone on his stream.
Do not read Fourth Wing. It'll lead you to this level of debauchery.
You know,
it's described in the books, guys.
I hate that we have to come on here and say this because she really did try to build something here, and I feel bad about sitting here and just ripping it apart. But there is so much that's just it's just such a horrible delivery.
Frequency. The reason why I don't really care is because this isn't an indie publisher. This is someone
but it's
who's
still someone who sat there and tried to make something happen.
Yeah,
so
but reportedly, she's published 15 novels before this.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah, she has. She actually has.
At least that's what was said by somebody who interviewed her, that she had published 15 novels before this.
Yeah, apparently this is her 15th book.
King Bob says, this is why the country fell.
No, it really is. And part of the reason I think we chose to read this is because everybody would just not shut the F up about it on the internet, both pro and negative about it. So it's like, okay, what is this Fourth Wing? My God, if this is what the people of America want, I'm horrified.
I think it says less about the author and more about the people who are buying it and
yeah,
like readily recommending it.
But I'm still going to be having fun with it. I'm putting together a video of Iron Age characters who can kick a Venon's ass.
A lot of them.
Yeah, I already trimmed down the list. It's going to be like 5 minutes breakdown per character, give or take a couple minutes. You know, it's like if I got like 5 or 6 characters in there, I'm looking at over a half-hour video. I had to trim it down. But if people enjoy it, then I'll do part 2s and 3s and stuff. And you know, if you guys want to keep it going, see how it pans out with the first one.
Well, how many characters have you started off with?
I had 3 of my own jammed in there, so I pulled 2 out. But hang on, I got the tab right here. Let's see. I'm gonna be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
Cuatro,
6,
cinco, seis,
7,
siete,
8.
Ocho.
All right, tell us what the characters' names are from.
All right, I got Hal Cedric from the Revenant series, Muhammad Ibn Fadlan from Immortal Rising, Boris from Star Shatter, Hunter Sabrina Carmen from the Bad Kitty series, Aguila from Aguila Nightmare Fuel, Stormbright from Curse of the Star Wraiths, and then because I'm me, I had to throw Samus Aran in there.
All right.
That's a good
I got one for you that actually, and I would disagree with Otter and Battsauce on this, but there is a character from Berserk that, even under your specifications, still counts because he's not a god. He doesn't have godlike powers. He just has really extremely overpowered powers.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, so does Boris.
Oh, I know who you're talking about.
It's literally the one that could just wipe out the Venom instantly.
Stomp. Oh.
No, don't even have to stomp. No. Doesn't have to stomp. Literally just shoots electricity.
If I feel like being a real dick, we could do the Q versus Venom.
Yeah, but you said no godlike beings, and the Q are God.
Yeah, I know. I was just kidding. I said if I felt like being a dick, just snap, win.
Well, I mean, I can't say this one because of Redoubt, but the character, I can send it to him. I mean, you can't put him on the list because I won't Redoubt and I'm getting spoiled, but he would 100% be top one of the list.
Dude,
if I do a second list and you want to include them, we could do a character breakdown, get it written in, and get it on the script for the video.
Tipsy Redoubt probably.
I don't know. What was that Redoubt?
Tipsy Redoubt won't tell sober Redoubt.
Well, I'll tell you his name, Redoubt. There's a character called Ganishka. He turns into a cloud, a little fucking storm cloud, and shoots lightning.
He also turns into a column that is totally not reminiscent of a penis.
So I do have a question. Is this? I kind of feel like we're in the end credit sequence of Wayne's World. You know, at the very end, the end credits, and like, so this is the end of the show. So yeah, how do we end it? How are we gonna end this? I can't believe they did that.
Well, Christian's asking if the stream's still going. We're telling him.
Yeah, he's trying to figure something out.
He's got some real Gollum stuff on this.
Yeah, I think he's trying to get reconnected so he can close it out.
But Redoubt, it's going to be fun because next Friday is Berserk Deluxe Volume 5, so you get to read through that.
Oh, thank God. After everything I just went through this week to read this. Oh, thank goodness. Read Berserk. Please give me some great storytelling. And I know I'm in for tragedy. I know I'm in for tragedy, but I'll take that. At least it's solid world building. Hey, look, he's returned.
That's perhaps an understatement when you're calling it a tragedy.
I just want to be on firm soil. That's all I ask for.
Yeah, Christian, we haven't had a woo out of you yet tonight. We need one of those. Make it worth coming on here.
He's saying kill me. You think he wants to fucking woo?
But his woo will make everything better.
He had to read 3 chapters of violent wooing Zayden, okay?
You mean violence wooing Zayden.
Okay, first of all, I have my grandmother with a friend out of town who happens to be here, and I have 2 sleeping children in a house where the walls do not go all the way up to the ceiling. There are your woo. Let me be Zayden after she takes her clothes off. Woo. Whoa, I guess.
Did you see the Gollum stuff?
I did. Yeah. He looks over. You're not nothing like your sister at all. Are you guys even related? Shit. Oh, bro. Sorry about the stream being so scuffed. I thought I had it all set up, but browser.
Dude, you're running it from a phone. That's hard to do.
You went this far, to be quite honest.
I am in a jungle with no address, with no power, in the middle of nowhere.
So
the next time someone pops on here and says you're appropriating Hawaiian culture for using the word kahuna, they can go do unpleasant things to themselves.
Also, like, this valley, cops really don't come out here anymore. Like, they stopped doing it a long time ago, and they never picked it back up. Because back in the day, when I was younger, everyone who was on a certain government list or got out of prison or was doing illicit activities, they would all move here. Yeah. And so,
they might be a rough crowd, but when they protect the neighborhood, you feel safe.
That's how this house survives. Like my grandma found the toughest, scariest. You know who you should be afraid of in Hawaii? The white guy all the locals are afraid of. That's who you need to be afraid of.
Is his name Chuck Norris or something?
Not that far off actually. His name is I think his name was like Brockman or something like that. But
dude, he's got like the perfect name for that kind of reputation.
That's what I'm saying, dude.
Would not be a certain president of a certain country.
Oh, all right, guys. Let's do some closing thoughts here. Closing thoughts on this wonderful experience. Read out. I'm sure you believe in humanity and things have like you have a lot of hope for the future now that you're done with this story.
What's this? Man, it's really warm around me. Oh, it's the whole world on fire. Anyways,
I'm in hell.
Yes, do not recommend for Fwing. I bless Mrs. Yarrow's heart. I wish her well in her future endeavors, but I will not be following her in these future endeavors. This is not my cup of tea. And that is how kind I can put it. And there is so much. I want you guys to appreciate how much restraint I have in giving that response, considering I'm several rums in. And also realizing that the offer professes himself to be some type of history buff. really, really grinds me the wrong way. So that is Al's kind.
You know what really grinds my gears?
That's all the more you have to say. There could be only one.
Billy Bob, tell us all your positive thoughts on the overall process of enjoying this wonderful, groundbreaking, the next Tolkien, if you will.
Well, I had to listen to this shit before Monday's stream. Awful. And then the Tuesday, I listened to it for 13 hours straight.
How did you not go mad? Also, Otter, you were finishing and also finishing this book right before the scene started, basically.
Fuck you.
Them sex scenes really got him going. It was all that Zayden jaw flexing.
It's Violet Golf going, we runs the D, precious.
No, it's like, oh, dude, the dragons are boning too.
Don't worry, she's bringing the furries in the third book.
Is it technically a fur good if they have scales?
I hope you're joking.
A scaly?
Now I'm thinking of the that skit about the dragonborn prostitute. That old Skyrim video that they used to make.
Are you talking about Manslayer?
I don't remember. It's like, yeah, no, my dragonborn ability is that my asshole can stretch to literally any limit, and like my tongue is fireproof and all. They're like, I think you guys were whores for dragons.
But yeah, this book is absolutely awful. If you love fantasy, avoid it like the plague. It's not
if you like alcohol, this is a good book to start.
Hey, Herman's in the chat.
Yeah, there's a much better fantasy offer in the chat right now. Go support his book.
Yes,
this brings us right back to where we started.
His newest book is available for pre-order. I read it on my last reading stream, like the prologue for it. Go read that book. Also, like I named.
Me and Christian are degenerates, but even like the smut scenes in this fucking book made us go, "Holy shit!"
This went too far.
Again, it's I hate this. She needed to either go further or dial it way back. Not far enough, and also too far.
Also, have pros, have fun with it. I mean, I wouldn't actually been that hard on if it was. Or choice
so tell me about your hard on with this book.
I wouldn't have been as critical as it if she would actually, I don't know, have fun like descriptions. Fuck it.
If there was a description of dragon dick in detail in this book, I might have given it a higher rating. At least she would have been like aware of herself.
She had the BBDC. That's what she should have got the vision of.
Pretty much, man. Frequency. Tell me, Wrangler. Tell me your overall feelings on this now that it's all said and done. Just get it all out there.
Well, I do like the idea of the magic system. I like the idea of the world she tried to set up. However, she didn't set it up to where it had the logical believability. And like everyone else said, the pros and going too far with certain things. Granted, that's what her audience is looking for, so it's weird. I want to say stop doing that, but the whole reason she has the audience is because she's doing that. And
Frequency. I have no problem with there being sex scenes. It's just they're bad sex scenes, like really bad.
Billy, I hate to say it, Billy. The
romance
is not
aspect,
the bottom of the barrel.
Yeah, the romance aspect, whether good or bad, doesn't land with me, so I can't tell the difference. I just kind of kept trying to ignore that and look at the where the plot was going.
Yeah, but I've read Sybil's work, and Sybil actually has really fucking good prose.
I believe you. Does. I just don't care one way or the other. It's the romance aspects. It bores me. It just bogs down getting to the action where everybody fights each other, so I don't care.
So the action was getting in the way of the action for you, Frequency?
Yeah, it was. The fact that she has to sit there and start another unwarranted argument just to build up tension, it was just dragged everything. It's like there's so much cool ideas I hear there's like that could be so cool, but it gets bogged down by what I'm calling a bug, but may actually be a feature.
Yeah, I think you're right on the money. The Lord Otter. Tell me about all the things you got out of this story.
I'll say this. I'll say this. Whenever we'll compare this to Sybil's writing for a second.
That's not a fair comparison.
I know it's not a fair comparison, and for context, I wouldn't even say Sybil's type of smut is necessarily what I would be into. That said, there is a lot of artistry to his writing. It is very good prose, excellent characterization, really good dialogue, all things that Fourth Wing does not have with its smut or fits. That said, I'm going to compliment the author on certain things. She does not man bash in this. She actually gives an honest to God effort. It seems that her heart is in the right place with the book, which I do respect, but it's just not
despite
good.
Her heart being fisted like every other organ.
It's just not for me. It's not.
Yep, we are like let's end it off on that note. We are not the target demographic. I appreciate I'm very aware that this will the end result of this book was exactly what was aimed for. It's just too bad that, again, like Frequency mentioned, it could be really cool. There are books that do both.
But this is a romance book, correct?
Mostly.
Well, actually, yeah. I am part of the demographic because I do actually like good romance stories.
No, but this isn't meant to be good romance.
Maybe.
This is Playboy for chicks with fantasy involved.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. But guys, thank you so much for going through this wonderful story with me. Thank you for putting yourselves through this. Frequency. We have some people you can go to. You can get help. It does get better. I think you just about broken him with all these. I am helpless.
Frequency. Have you ever heard this thing called shock treatment?
That's what the guy who was testing me to see if I was psychic mentioned. What was his name? Vankman?
Yeah, pretty much.
Dogs and cats living together.
Mass hysteria.
Tell him about the Twinkie.
This man has no dick.
What about the Twinkie?
By the way, that translates so well into Berserk.
Zoo.
We should do a scene by scene.
Oh,
Gozer got to him.
We killed the host again. Anyways, bring up Gollum.
He does have to end the stream before he can stop us. He can't stop us. He can't stop us.
Oh my god, that
they
shit's my
can't
search
stop
history,
all of
I
us.
came prepared tonight. Let's go.
So welcome to the after stream. I hope you're having fun tonight. We're just gonna keep going until Christian finds a way to stop us. And to be honest, we'll probably just keep going after that for a little bit longer.
We just all need to do rereadings of this with a Gollum voice. That's how we need to go from here on out.
Actually, the voice that Billy listened to was a different voice from the version I listened to. I got lucky. The voice I listened to, she when she was narrating it, she was actually getting into it, doing different voices for all the characters as best she could. But what was funny was when she was trying to speak like voice one of the professors, and she would try to come across as authoritative and dramatic, she sounded like Captain Janeway in Voyager whenever she was playing one of the dramatic roles on the holodeck. It was freaking hilarious.
I'm kind of disappointed we didn't get to read the parts of it because I was going to do the I'm so great, yeah. That was going to be the voice as Violet.
I wanted to So I wanted to actually read the physical version just to see how certain parts of it read. I especially when it comes to books like this, I want to see how italics are used. Because I mean, every book uses italics in a different way. A lot of young adult or new adult fiction will use a lot of italics. I was shocked to see how much it was overused in this book. There were a lot of italics used in different ways. I was going to read
physically, but someone else had it checked out at the library, and I wasn't jumping through 19 hoops to read this fucking book, so I just picked the audio book.
I feel ashamed to say that I paid $10 for this book. No.
Shame.
I couldn't believe it was like over $10 for the freaking ebook. I'm like, why? There's no overhead on an ebook. I mean, there's no price of paper and shipping and all that. Why does it cost almost as much as the paperback?
The new version of this book was $25 at my used bookstore. Thankfully, I had store credit with them.
25?
Yes.
Damn.
Jesus.
The sequel was cheaper.
Well, think of how wow. And that's twice as big, but just about, isn't it?
The sequel was $20. The first book was $25. And they were telling me it was because the first book was in such high demand.
Huh.
I can't really comment on it because I haven't really bought a book, not a manga or comic or anything.
No,
so I don't know what the book prices are now, but you also got to take in like inflation now with the prices.
Indie writers, indie creators, if you ever feel bad about your own artistic talents, just know that Fourth Wing is your competition.
Also, 100%. This is Tara Gibbsley from fucking My Immortal. This is her all grown up. It kind of works out, I think, with her age.
The timeline does that up.
Yeah, and
that was more fun.
Yeah, we've never seen the two of them together at the same time.
Yeah, but Redoubt, literally, I'm joking when I'm talking about her being her, but it could be her. But she was definitely a fan of My Immortal because there's literally like phrases that are in that book that are direct.
Was anybody else surprised when we never saw "Stop Flaming" in there?
A little bit.
I was expecting that phrase to pop up somewhere.
Well, I'm reading through the later parts of the book. The sentences get so choppy. There were so many instances of what the hell. Three separate sentences. I kid you not. I went. This feels like My Immortal. Like
dude, she flips someone off.
Feels like My Immortal.
She flips off.
Audience listening to us can go watch right now because I'm going to drop the link in the chat to the Heterochromia podcast where you can listen to all 4 installments of the My Immortal dramatic reading from myself, the Lord Otter, Maji-chan, and the Mogwai known as BillyBobSac. If you want to understand
with a special cameo by Trippy.
Was indeed a special. I think it's in part 3. He makes a special cameo.
Yeah, right near the end. It was beautiful.
It's one of the greatest moments we've ever achieved collectively as part of a Drink or Crazy Guilded. But go check that out and I encourage you to check that out, not just because that's my second channel, but also that's kind of the origin story of how we got here to this mess. It kind of is.
Well, to be fair, it all traces back to Otter.
Stop Fleming, Kay.
But
now, sometimes I get Sparz's Otter song stuck in my head.
But she literally flips someone off during class and being like, I don't care. Everyone was shocked. And it's exactly what happens in My Immortal. Multiple times.
Yeah, the mentality here is like teenage girl at most.
There's a lot of sexual fantasy wish fulfillment going on in this book. There's a lot of that. And granted, that's a lot of
apparently resonating with a lot of people.
Right. And granted, there's a lot of that
scares me.
There's a lot of fiction that is like that. I mean, that's one of the big reasons why Isekai is such a smash success. But it's just so blatantly obvious here. It's hard to see it as anything else.
Well, there's nothing wrong with that, but it has to be good.
There has to be a certain level of, I don't know, something else to add that can make it a bit more enjoyable. If that's all you're looking for, then great, you're going to enjoy this. But
Christian needs to get back.
If you're looking for
the one character, the 2 characters that were sort of a saving grace that really made things fun were Taryn and Riddick.
I didn't like Taryn either. He was just as much as a gossipy little bitch as fucking every character.
I
just imagined his voice as Kevin Conroy doing the old man Bruce Wayne.
Oh wow!
No, you need to have him as Sean Connery
from Dragonheart.
The only characters I found somewhat halfway likable were probably Rhiannon and Zayden, and even them,
sometimes
it's not.
You gotta slap a bitch, you know?
Oh Lord. Even they weren't fully likable. It was more just kind of like they're not as insufferable.
You know who I liked?
Who?
The one character she was friends with, and he fell off the fucking rampart. I like that dude because he was barely there.
Bye,
Hey,
Dylan.
He wanted to get out of the story.
Was it Dylan?
Did. I think it was Dylan.
I can't remember the fucking.
Oh, you're thinking it. You're mixing up Dylan and Dane.
Yeah, Dane was her other love interest, but throughout.
Yeah, we kept saying Dylan throughout. We meant Dane. Our bad.
Entire story.
No. The one who dies at the very beginning. She's like, "Oh, you're my best friend." That's
Dylan.
And he fucking falls off the rampart and
That's
dies.
Dylan. That's him.
That's Dylan.
Who the fuck
I
is
remember.
Dylan? Why does she have Dylan and then Dane, who are all they're the exact same character?
This also kind of runs into the problem where there's a lot of side characters and a lot of their names kind of run together because a fair amount of the characters, they're not fleshed out enough. You don't know who they are. They're just kind of there.
Not to mention they're not exactly remembered either, because in this culture, if someone dies, they commend their soul to Malik, and then they have to burn all of their belongings, which destroys information they could have passed on.
Her gay best friend, I didn't care that he died, and he was 100% gay.
There's several characters where you're kind of given a little bit about them. It's more that they just talk with the group before they die 20 pages later. And my reaction to each time was, oh, I guess they're a red shirt then.
Which one?
Well, there's no way around it. There's going to be a lot of red shirts in a story like this.
There's a lot of red shirts for sure.
Yeah, if she would just develop a difference in character voice on the page, that would go a long way.
Yeah, if I could give her any writing advice, like I'm not gonna claim I'm an expert by any stretch, but just basic tips to make the story better, it would be develop character voice more. If she had more of a distinct character voice, a lot of my issues would kind of go away.
How did not learn this if this is her 15th book?
I mean, how many times did she do the one-word sentences back to back to make a full sentence?
Pardon to interrupt, but welcome, Johnny Douglas. Welcome to the after stream.
Hail, Sir.
The host has yet to end the stream. We're here.
Yeah, we killed our host.
The book was so bad it killed our host.
I think he got taken out by a lightning orgasm. I think he said. But,
oh my god!
Well, while we're here,
no, that's not what you can't.
I'll make the reference. So when we were talking about the lightning orgasms earlier, I'm like, oh, so what's Bill, Joe, and Dusty gonna roll in the Toyotas and then the buses and gonna hunt down the supercell that's producing all these lightning strikes, and then just realize it's because of some weird biological mechanism tied to dragon bonding. I want to point out that it's pretty late in the night, and I've had a little bit too much Captain Morgan, and I am making a Twister, the movie Twister reference to tie it into this so I can enjoy the reference, because anywhere else I would just go down a rabbit hole and get really depressed.
I'm gonna message Christian and be like, are you able not to join? Jesus fuck. This needs to end. None of us have control.
Lightning strike.
The fourth lightning strike.
If I had control, I would just put up Ghost of the Badlands art again.
I think her lightning powers are so underwhelming. It's not that they aren't cool. It's just they're barely used in the book. She doesn't get them until much later on.
She works with it a lot in the second book, but even by the end of the second book, she still kind of really sucks at aiming. She gets better, but she still really sucks.
Well, my problem with it here is like she gets it here. She doesn't know how to aim. So like she uses it once, then she trains with it, and she uses a little bit at the end. A lot of what she's using it for is just when she orgasms. She's just destroying the room.
Yeah, it's like just the reflexive aspect. So if you need to take down the army, what you do is you send her out in the front lines with a vibrator, have her run out there and then turn it on, and she'll just zap the whole field dead.
Hold up, but she's learning how to bust a nut in a direction. That's her training order.
Projectile squirting.
Yeah. Oh, you can have a battle. You can have a battle between her and what's his name? Fucking
Quagmire? No,
Dalen, because he has his cum sickness.
A match made in heaven.
faces.
No, but remember when we were talking about who could defeat Dalen a while back? Zayden definitely could because he's got the shadow powers and block out the light.
Yeah, but he can also shoot cum sickles. I don't think you're understanding how overpowered this is.
Yeah, that does sound like something I would not want to face.
And can you discredit that magic ability? Fuck no, because it 100% works in the system. I figure this out. I'm gonna lament it. I'm gonna bring it up as much as I can. All right, Christian, where the fuck are you? We showed Golem in a bikini.
Did you see what I posted in the Gilded chat?
Would you post? Why don't you talk about AEW since you can go full autistic with it this time?
I don't have enough brain cells, honestly.
Oh God.
Fourth wing and alcohol killed him.
Here's another stupid thing about AEW. We need to have blood every fucking match. We need to have these stupid fucking what was it? The exploding ring match. Whatever the fuck it was. Did you watch that?
Yeah, this was like 2 years ago now.
Something. I watched it recently because I think Vince Russo was fucking covering
the
it.
worst pyrotechnics you could ever see. So even if you're not into wrestling, you have to understand that I personally don't like the exploding deathmatch concept. Because it's so ludicrous. It's like, okay, yeah, you're not gonna blow up your actual wrestlers, but the Japanese did it for many years. So in 2021. AEW decided they were going to have an exploding barbed wire death match, and everybody was all hyped for it. My God, I can do more pyrotechnics with fireworks with M88s in the backyard of Western Pennsylvania than these guys could do in Florida. No disrespect.
Throwing a couple of Roman candles and you got everything.
I could do more Roman candles than what AEW did.
It looked like bottle rockets went off. That was it.
No, bottle rockets gives more pyrotechnics. This was like having
it was bottle rockets and then sprinklers. What bullshit. This was so
yeah, it was really bad. I do think genuinely they had greater pyrotechnics and they failed, which sucks. But history remembered that it just was the wimpiest explosion known to man. And I watched it live. Well, I wasn't literally there because it was the pandemic. They didn't allow hardly anybody into the stands. So I was watching live on TV and I'm like, God damn, my money just went up in smoke.
King Bob says, what do you mean could? You know you have Redoubt, you wonderful redneck you. You're a redneck now, somehow.
I will take that and cry.
How that happen?
There can be only one redneck.
There really can only be one. And I don't think it's me. Honestly, I probably suspect Wrangler would probably win that title.
Oh. Otter, you need to watch Crybaby.
All right.
I absolutely need to watch it. It's a fucking golden movie.
Yeah, that's one I haven't seen, so I'm going to have to check it out.
It's great. It's parodying Grease.
Oh, okay. All right, I'm all for this.
But it's made by I forgot his name. He's the one. He's like the weird looking dude. That's what he's known his whole career. But he's the one who made it. So you have like really fucking oddly creepy looking people in it.
Don't tell me it's like Ed Wood or someone.
No. What was that song he was also in? The shit. Do the Freak. That parody song.
Let me look it up.
He was in that one. I forgot his name. Oh shit! Let me find my DVD. Look up Crybaby. Look up the director's name. Or
Yeah.
I'll do it.
John Waters.
Yeah, him. He also did another movie where that literally had the actress eat shit. That's not in Crybaby.
Wait. Go back. What? You just made me sober. What?
So
what?
Think of Crybaby as like the PG version of that movie. And that movie, like, Oh my fucking god! I don't know.
What was this about consuming very non-consumable items?
Oh no, the one the actors literally
was this like Stifler in that American Pie movie where he had to get the ring and he ate the so-called chocolate biscuit?
Well,
No,
I hate to be that guy, but just take a look at his filmography and you'll get a pretty good idea of what all he's made.
What was his name? John Waters. Here, I can tell you exactly what movie when I see it.
There, he has some movies called. One is called Pecker. One is called Mondo Trasho.
You might want to rethink his naming conventions.
He also did Hairspray.
Hag in a black leather jacket.
Pink Flamingos. That's the movie I'm thinking of. That literally the actors ate shit on fucking camera. No bullshit. Real shit.
That's messed up.
But Crybaby isn't like that. Crybaby's like the PG.
What the hell?
You don't have any shit like that.
Why?
I don't know. But he had like a lot of real creepy people.
There's something wrong with that dude.
Yes, but Crybaby is a fucking masterpiece.
Well, Crybaby is a great movie, but that's wrong.
Oh, did he actually direct the first X-Files movie, Fight the Future? I guess he did.
He directed Seed of Chucky. Or did he direct or he's in? Some of these might actually just be he's in.
Probably. Let's see this one. No, he didn't direct it. Okay, he must have just been involved with Fight the Future. I would have been really surprised if he actually directed it.
No, but you'll come watching Crybaby and you're like, it's actually good. Like, it works. It just does. And it, like, Johnny Depp's character, Crybaby, is fucking hilarious in it. Where he's supposed to be like the smooth greaser, you know, and the main love interest, of course, is a square. And they're having like a beef battle with the squares and the greasers. And like you would think that the grandmother would want the grandmother's going to be like not supportive of the relationship. No, it's like immediately she's like, yeah, I want this. And she's like, all right. Yeah, have fun. All right, what other movies we can talk about until fucking fat ass gets back on here, you know?
There was one I was thinking about watching tonight. It slipped my mind now. Never mind. I could watch Crybaby.
King Bob says, just need a bit of tannerite in the refrigerator and you're good to go. Yeah, to get yourself killed.
So, Otter, how many books do you think you're going to have in your Steel and Stormbright series?
It's still a bit of an open question. I'm planning for there to be at least 3 or 4. The overall story that I've got so far, I'm thinking it's probably going to be anywhere between 4 to 5 books. But then again, I'm still going to leave it open because this is very much. How
many times are your characters going to speak a series of one-word sentences?
Very little.
Otter, you were also supposed to get on last night because I was supposed to tell you what you need in that second chapter.
Yeah, I was a little busy last night. I was trying to finish up Fourth Wing last night. Trying to.
Poor Otter.
I was trying to. I was going to tell you exactly what you really need to focus on in the beginning of that chapter.
Yeah, we can talk about it right after the stream once Christian gets back on.
I don't know if we're leaving. I do have a Z plan because after the first 25 plans are forwarded, I do have a Z plan.
The what?
A Z plan. Like
for
the
what?
last resort. If Christian doesn't log back in and end the stream.
Maybe it's staying on the stream. I bet you if we all leave, it'll end the stream.
Maybe.
Probably.
I've never tried that before.
We're gonna fucking test this out. Redoubt, you want to give us your part and plugs a little bit?
Well, I'm not leaving because I'm enacting Plan Z because I've always wanted to enact Plan Z, and it's not horrible. So don't think it's the worst thing ever. But yeah, go to Redoubt Productions. I help to live, explore, and preserve history one video at a time. Bad news, no video this week. A lot of things have been happening this week, including reading this horrible book. So I was not having able time to edit the next edition of Retracing History, but still consider subscribing if you want to learn some information about our shared past, be it military history or just really any history for that matter. I'm really interested in. So be sure to subscribe to Redoubt Productions. And if you want to understand how we got here in this mess, it doesn't really explain how Wrangler got pulled into this mess, but how we got here in this mess. Be sure to check out the Heterochromedia podcasts. There is a 4-part series of myself, the Lord Otter, Billy, and Maji-chan reading the horrors that is Fourth Wing. Or not Fourth Wing.
You mean my
my
Yeah, we
immortal.
were all trapped by a mogwai. It was pretty terrible.
It was
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, but did you guys get your revenge on it this time?
Not really. We
I
all
don't know. I
feel
saw
like
him blowing up in the comments. Billy, you were going off about how horrible this is, and
Yeah,
all I
because-
could think of is when you had everyone else tied up in your basement to read My Immortal. I'm like,
Here's the thing.
that's what it feels like.
13 hours of listen. And by the way, it's an audiobook, so it's even worse. Okay. There's one thing about having to read it on a page, but I had to listen to it.
Yeah. Well, so did I, but like I said, I lucked out. I had a better narrator to read it than the one you listened to.
Here's the
It
thing,
helped
I
a
wasn't
little.
paying for this.
I also drive for 10 hours a day, so I got
look, we our
time.
host back. Anyways, frequency.
Yeah,
back.
I'm gonna have coming up in the next week a video about Aguila in indie comic. It's actually this one right here. I'm gonna do a full spoiler coverage video on that. Should be up in the next few days, and then in the couple weeks after that, I should have a video up Iron Age characters that could take out a Venom. And also, don't forget to check out my books, the Bad Kitty series, Haley Star Bad Kitty and Bad Kitty Haley's World, both available now. And Friday next week, I will be on Iron Age Nights.
Nice. What, next week?
Next week, 1 week from today.
Oh,
All
yeah.
right, Lord Otter. Christian, we can't hear you.
All right.
We
Well,
can't hear
I have a fantasy novella out. If you're a fan of swords and sorcery, it's called The Curse of the Star Raids, starring Steel and Stormbright, a brother duo who fight against a power that's much greater than themselves as they have to navigate through all sorts of treachery, including weird fantasy, some rather dangerous cosmic ghosts, and, of course, athletic tits.
Yes.
If you like fantasy, I think you might very well enjoy this. You can also, very big.
Christian,
bazongas.
your mic's not working. That's why.
You can also
Someone
find me.
messaged us that his mic isn't. No, we can't hear him.
Yeah, we can't hear you, Christian.
All right. Any more, Otter?
Yeah, you can also find me on downstreampulp.substack.com for reviews and other short stories. And next week, we're going to be doing a Berserk review live stream for Deluxe Volume 5 on BillyBobSac's channel.
Yes, at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. All right, then I have that. It's going to be next month for me and you to be able to do the Ghost of the Badlands one, but I might just try to do like an unedited like mini review as well on my channel. Something.
Yeah.
And then we also have Fiendish 2.5